Ready?
Yeah, every time I forget my water. Not that I need it, but you know.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Got an awesome new show. Tons of great stuff. We have a special guest in the house, Mr. Joe Perry. What's up, Joe?
Hey, thank you for having me again, as always. It's always a pleasure to be on.
Yeah, so Joe's our VIP concierge, our longest employee at our company, and very excited to have him on the show. And he's an expert in the market, also a licensed realtor, and he really deals with sellers. And we'll talk about some of the things he's seeing. Had a crazy horror story this week where this guy got stuck sleeping on the floor of his house because his agent screwed up and screwed the deal up, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, you hate to hear about these things happening for anybody, but you know, he had it listed with his agent.
We'll save it for the show a little bit, but
yeah,
just we'll save that for a minute, right? Just because it's a crazy story. But we'll talk about that today, which is super interesting. And really just Joe's will share some things he sees on the seller side, some horror stories, some good things we'll talk about, and really just be, a great guest part of the show. We have some huge numbers in. We got the brand new market numbers in from last month, and they're very interesting because we saw the first year versus year decline in terms of month versus month. And so we actually saw a decline. Remember, the past 2 months, we've had a 2-month decline. This month is kind of flat so far. But interesting, it's obviously you can see it flattening out. You can also see sales price flattening out. We'll talk about that, which we predicted that. So we'll talk about what's happening so you can make some good decisions. Is the market turning? Is it not turning? I actually did our last month's radio show and talked about 2 months of decline. And then I got a call from the local news here. We did a news story on that being the case, and a couple of agents here locally disagreed. And then all of a sudden, all the news comes out. There is seeing a shift, right? And so we were ahead of that curve. Very glad to be, because we go into so much depth in this show every week. So we'll talk about that, what's going on there for sure. We also see some interesting news with mortgage rates. They're continuing to climb, and so we're back another high, at least in the past few months. We'll talk about what's happening there. In that scenario, we're also seeing inventory climb. So we're seeing more single-family homes in the market. They're staying on the market a little longer. And so good news for buyers, right? Maybe scary news for sellers. To talk about what's happening there. We also have your fall house selling checklist, 12 items on there. That's very helpful. Things that we help our clients really kind of deal with and advise. And we'll talk with Joe too. Like, I think a lot of people get scared sometimes thinking about, what if my house sells too fast, or do I need to fix it up? And one of the biggest things you hear, people are just worried they got to fix it up, or that people are going to judge them and stuff, right? I mean,
yeah, you see it all the time, but right now this market is doing so phenomenally well. I think that sometimes people build it up a little bit too much in their head, and really that's why we're coming in. We're going to show you what improvements to make, what improvements not to make in order to get the most amount of money for your home.
Right. Perfect. We'll talk about that as well. We have some amazing success stories. Our team's been absolutely crushing it. 25 plus deals last week. We're continuing to keep that pace even into this fall market. So we'll talk about that and just really how to give you more information on your largest asset. I'll take a quick break and we'll come right back.
All right, a lot of stuff to get to. If you just tuned in for the very first time and you're not sure who you're listening to or what you're listening to, it's the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show, hosted by, of course, Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan has been called the Real Estate Whiz Kid. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Wall Street Journal, Realtor magazine, and other national publications. You may be seeing him on TV with NBC and also Fox and Breakfast Morning Show. You've heard the personal endorsements here by Sean Kennedy, also Barbara Corcoran, Gary LeBlanc. Put them all together, it's just totally unprecedented. Now, that's one thing, but the other thing is that Blake has trademark systems for both home sellers and home buyers. They are trademarked, so we can't give you all the details, but more than happy every week to tell you the most important part of that system.
Yes, thanks, Dave. And that's the whole DNA behind why we do the show, and really why I wanted to share that, because it's the main reason. And I tell you, man, I can't say this enough. It happens over and over. It happened to somebody last week that I know. And here's the deal. People make this huge mistake over and over and over and over again. And Joe sees this as well. But here's the deal. They make this mistake of thinking that all real estate agents are the same. And it could not be further from the truth. I don't care if it's your friend, relative, aunt, uncle, who it is, how long they've been doing it, because it has to do with really how they execute. And here's the thing. The single most important variable that determines your failure or success as a home seller comes down to one thing only: That thing is the agent you choose, period, right? How they execute. There's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, puts money in your pocket. If anything's handled incorrectly, AKA they drop the ball. And that could be anything from the quality of the photos, the order of the photos. Do you understand buyer psychology to put the photos in the right order to get the most amount of traffic? Does your agent actually answer the telephone? Do they even respond to web inquiries online? And if they do, how long does it take them to respond? Do they know how to price it right? Do they understand the pace of the market? All these things are variables that matter. That here's the thing, most consumers don't really understand at the level they need to make the right decision, because they think, oh, so-and-so is a nice person. So-and-so is my friend. And ultimately, it costs you tons and tons of money. We'll talk about a success story today where the guy got $40,000 extra dollars just by reaching out to us. And so here's the thing. It's just like any doctor, any lawyer. If you're charged with a crime you did not commit, I don't care how friendly they are, how close of a friend they are. I want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law. I could give a crap less if they're my friend or not. I want the absolute best. And so why would you ever not demand this same amount of excellence for your largest asset? And so that's what we're here to talk about today's show. And really, it's what we see all the time. And so what we did was we said, look, what are those variables? How do we know there's 118 different variables? Because we know it's impossible for one person to effectively handle all of those. But guess what? 99% of agents operate the same old school way, trying to manage all those variables, 118 of them on every single deal, not just your deal, but all the other deals they got too. And so unfortunately, it's not possible for one person to do it, but literally almost every single realtor operates that way. And so we said, look, there's got to be a better way. And so I looked out and said, look, what has to happen in the right order, in the right sequence, in the right time to get the actual result you want every single time? And so we created a system that's proven repeatable, and it's called the Guaranteed Sold System. The only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. And so we designed around there, and it really does make a difference. And so this one thing we talked about, maybe this will be the last time we'll talk about it, we'll see. But it's really important, I think, to understand this, is that, look, you can sell your house right now today, and you don't even need a real estate agent, right? Surprised to hear that. You don't need an agent. You can sell it yourself today with no problem. But here's the thing. That does not mean you're selling your house for the most amount of money, right? And actually get to the closing table, because the best analogy I see is like, hey, look, you can sell any car, right? There's hardly any cars right now due to shortages. Look at most car lots, they're empty. But let's say you had a classic Corvette, pristine, amazing Corvette, only let's say 85 miles on it. And it's been in your garage for years. You keep it up. You can take that classic Corvette, you can sell it, take it to the Walmart parking lot today on 501 and get a lot of money for it. You can sell it pretty decent, right? You can probably put a sign on the front, your cell phone on it, get somebody to call you, and you can sell it. But here's the thing. Does that mean that you're getting the most amount of money for that classic Corvette? We both know that you wouldn't, right? Because why? You haven't exposed it to a large enough pool of buyers to find a buyer who appreciates that classic Corvette to the point where they'll pay a premium. And so that's the same exact thing that we do with your house, because let's say we took that classic Corvette and put it in the Walmart parking lot, but we also put it in every classic Corvette enthusiast website, every classic Corvette enthusiast group online, and every classic Corvette enthusiast magazine. Guess what? We have a lot more exposure, aka a lot more eyeballs. And now we're able to find buyers in bulk who are willing to pay a premium for that classic Corvette. That's how you net more money. It's the same exact thing that we do with your home sale, specifically through that Guaranteed Sold System, because unfortunately, what most agents do is they put your house in the Walmart parking lot, and that Walmart parking lot is the MLS, the multiple listing service. And that's about it, right? They do the 3 Ps. One, they promise the world to get the listing. They'll tell you anything and everything that you want to hear to get that listing signed. Then 2, right, they put it into MLS, aka take some photos with their cell phone, put it into MLS. And 3, they pray that someone else brings a buyer. Meanwhile, they're down the street trying to get another listing because they're trying to pay next month's rent or next month's mortgage. And so that's the 3 Ps. We combat that with our Guaranteed Sold System that gets proven, repeat results, and sells your house faster and for more money, because you do the same exact thing we talk about there with that classic Corvette example. Now, on the flip side, if you're buying a house, you have different variables to deal with, but really the outcome is determined by your agent. So we designed a system there that's proven repeatable. It's called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Gets priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as home inspection to get you to the actual closing table with the best deal. But here's the thing, right? Both those are designed to do one thing. The Guaranteed Sold System, the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System are designed to help you, right, have a competitive advantage when you're buying or selling. You deserve to have that in terms of what you're doing. You really want to have a system that helps you. And so we do that through a team of people like Joe here, part of our amazing team. We're up to almost 30 people on our team now. And we have technology, software, things we've built out to track and manage all the things that have to happen, right? And processes and systems that manage the problems before they ever get there to allow you to have a clean and good experience to get to the closing table. So if you listen to the show, if you have friends or relatives out there, help them understand the difference and say, look, it doesn't matter how well you know them. It matters how good they are at what they do. And so we'll talk about that here in a minute. Take a quick break, come back, have some brand new market numbers. We'll talk some crazy stories with Joe here in a minute.
If you are in the market to make the most money for your home, Sean Hannity here with some important advice. Now, look, I'm an active investor. I have bought and sold a lot of properties in hot,
We'll do the quick
markets.
market stuff, and then we'll talk about some of your stuff. Is that cool?
That knows how to create the most demand for your home. Now, if I needed to create demand in this market, no question, there's only one real estate agent I trust if I needed to sell my home. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, he services the entire Myrtle Beach area, attracts hundreds of buyers every week, and sells a home on average every 24 hours. Now, that helps you generate multiple offers and sell your home for the most money possible. Plus, it's like getting an immediate offer on your home, because if your home doesn't sell for the price and the deadline you agree to, you will have it bought for cash, and he offers flexible fees. Find out how much demand your home can command right now. Call the agent that creates the most demand. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Myrtle Beach, I would hire Blake Sloan. His international marketing creates so much demand that if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, Blake will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
Welcome back to the Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Really cool part with Barbara Corcoran right there. We just had our brand new commercial run Friday night, and the Shark Tank premiere. And you'll probably see that coming up here in the next few weeks on Shark Tank as well. Look out for that. That's when we flew to New York City, last month and a half ago. And you'll see that. Very, very cool to see that coming out and be a part of the new Shark Tank season 13 episode, which is pretty cool. So really quick, we'll talk about the overall market numbers, which is interesting. And we'll talk about what's happening. Again, the party's been going on for a long time. I talked about before, it's like you've been drinking inside the party for a few hours now. You came outside to the driveway. Your friend gave you a few shots. And if you keep drinking any more shots, you probably end up in the ditch, right? We talked about that a while back. And so a friend of mine gave me that analogy. But ultimately, it looks like things might be leveling out here a little bit, at least from affordability standpoint. We'll also talk about, that's my other topic I had here I may not have mentioned earlier. We'll talk about why is there still a housing shortage. And it's really interesting to look at the mathematics of how many homes were built per year before the great financial crisis and then after, and compare that to the amount of homes that are needed. So that's something that's very, very important to look at, but we'll talk about that here in a second. So here's the thing. Last month's numbers, as of right now, single-family home sales, 661 home sales. Now, here's the problem. That's an 8.8% decrease from the month before. And so that's a little bit scary. And if you look at last month, it wasn't necessarily down. It was technically up year versus year because they compare them. In this scenario, September versus September, right? Now, I like to track month to month to month and watch for trends. I know we are seasonal, but we saw that happen a little early here. And so the peak of the year this year actually happened in June. It usually happens in July and August, but in June, there were 797 home sales. Last month, only 661. Now, it dropped significantly down in July to 653, 661, and 661. When we did last month's numbers, it was in the 640s. Agents tend to put deals in sometimes 30 days later, which is why you saw it bump up a little bit. But in essence, we've seen a 2-month decline, and we're seeing flat month versus month numbers right now. And so literally the same exact sales closed in September as in August as of right now. It's 661 home sales. Not bad. Now, the one thing interesting, though, price. And so if you look at price, median price has leveled out. Almost the same exact price the past 3 months, which says what? Probably coming a little bit towards the peak here, at least for us in the short term, right? So here's the thing. Right now, the good news is median price for single-family homes is up 20.1% from the same month last year. Great news, right? 20% extra equity. A median price right now, $325. That's $60,000 extra dollars of equity that someone has in their pocket, which is pretty strong, talking about a 12-month period, right? So here's the difference, though. If you look at last month, so last month was September, 325. August, guess what it was? 325. Into July, it was 324, 750, almost the exact number of 325. And so the last 3 months, prices have been flat. We haven't seen that. And as far as this chart goes back to like 2016, at least, I don't see any 3-month period that is flat. There are a couple ups and downs. We may see a slight dip and then recover back. But the good news is it's being protected by the low amount of inventory. We'll talk about that in a second. Average sale price, though, is still climbing up, which is great. We just hit a new record, which is awesome for Myrtle Beach, the Grand Strand. A new record here for single-family average sale price, $416,721. That's a 17.2% increase. I've been here my whole life and never thought we'd be talking about average sale price of $416,000 on the Grand Strand. What about you, Joe? You've been here for a while too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's make me move money right now,
Yes,
man. I like it.
Yes, I like that. Make me move money. There's a lot of people that just, hey, if I can get X amount of money for my house, I'll take it. And that's true. If you have that number, if you got a make me move price, you call us, because we most likely can get it in many cases. And if not, we'll tell you we can't and let you know, hey, look, we'll set you up on some emails so you can get updates. And when you can pull the trigger, let us know. And so actually had a good friend of mine who's his name's Scott. He's a good buddy of mine. And he had a house in his neighborhood. And he said, man, if you let me know we get 300,000, I'm selling. I'm out. And at that time, it was like 260, 270. I put him on this monthly update, kind of give him some updates. All of a sudden, it hit 300,000. He clicked the link and he messaged me. He's like, dude, 300,000. I'm like, I know. By the way, your neighbor just listed and went under contract at 325. And he was super excited. We took it, listed his property, I think at 329, went under contract right now, 325. So
yeah, and that's incredible. And that's one thing that we can set you up with. If you give us a call, we can give you automatic market updates on your property. Give us a call. I'll just ask you some questions. We can get them sent to you every 2 weeks, and just stay on. You have that dream number in mind, you'll know before anybody else.
Yeah, and the key is there, you'll know more than most realtors do at that point, because you're getting updates on your neighborhood, your zip code. And here's the thing, there's no pressure, no hassle. We're just here to give you the data that you want, because we spend a lot of money for data and tools. And so we know in the long run, hey, if we keep you updated in your house value for 2 years, the chances are you might call us at the end, right?
Yeah,
if not, at least tell somebody about us. That's all we care about. So interesting news there with the average sale price, which is good. Now, what's protecting price has to do with inventory. Inventory hit a really all-time low for us in between April and May. It was at 0.9 months at one time, and then it was at 1.1 months of inventory. Remember, anything less than 6 months, we call a seller's market. And so anything above 6 months of inventory is a buyer's market. The inventory equation is a hypothetical equation that says if there's not a new property listed at the current run rate, how long would it take before you sold every house? Right now, it's at 1.3 months. It's back down from where it was in August at 1.4 months. Right now we're at 1.3. I think we'll see that probably bounce back up. But here's the thing, there's 55.2% less houses available than there was the same month last year. And so that's a lot less, which is what's protecting price as we're seeing sales slow down. And so that's great news. We'll talk about at the end of the show here why that is and why you're seeing that. But it's interesting enough, we're still in a super seller's market. I do foresee that continue to climb, because right now residential homes is the highest I've seen it in a very, very long time in terms of actual available homes. As of right now, there's 585 single-family homes for sale in Horry, basically in all of Horry County. And so that's just been a number we've been tracking for 6-8 months now. Remember, it was in the 300s and 380s. Then it got at 400, low 400s, high 400s, and low 500s. Last week it was in the 550s to 560s. Right now we're at 585, which shows me a slow increase of single families. We have seen some condos though, and things go down. So that's protecting price right now, which is interesting overall in that scenario. One thing we're seeing, showings per listing are down. So showings per listings is up 30.8% from the same time last year, which is great. But if you look at month versus month, we're seeing a decline. We've seen a 5-month straight decline of showings per listing, which means that's buyer traffic. And so it capped out in April this year at 8.2 showings per listing. Then went down to 7.8, 7.4, 7.2, 7.2, and then 6.8. And so in essence, you're following that down, which means there's less buyers looking at our properties. You can see that it's all supply and demand based. And so ultimately, the lagging indicator is always price. And so I think we may see a little bit of a dip. Thankfully, we're being protected a little bit because of inventory, which is very helpful. Really quick, I'll get into condos, hit the condo numbers. We'll talk about some cool stuff here in a second. Condo sales, though, they're actually pretty good. They're up 7.9% from the same month last year. But guess what? We're also in another decline. We're in a 1, 2, 3, 4-month decline of condos sold. So in May, there was 846 condos sold. June, 842. July, 691. August, 691. And then here in September, it was 643. So you're seeing that kind of constant movement there. That's one thing we're looking at. The good news is still more than it was last year. Into prices for median sale price for condos, up 13.9%, a new record, which is awesome. 176,500 median price for condos here on the Grand Strand. Into average sale price, up 12.2%, also a new record, 217,487, which is awesome. And so you watch the overall graph, like I said, in January of 2018, it was 139,934. Now we're at 217. So great thing there. And we've seen as housing inventory got a little bit clogged up, we saw a massive increase in condo sales because people can move there. They're more affordable. Like you saw, the average price is half of what it is for a condo than it is a house. And so that's what you're seeing happen right now. So ideally, if I'm a home seller, I'm watching closely. If I see 3 straight months of prices staying the same, also a decline in sales, it does tell me we're seeing a shift. Now, I don't know how big or how long that shift is. Hopefully, we'll see. I think personally we're in an unprecedented time in terms of country, in terms of what's happening, in terms of the economy. So I don't really know, but I do know that it's not necessarily a bubble like before. I was in this business since 2005, grew up in it. When we were doing it in 2006 and 2007, it was crazy. It was pure speculation. People were just trying to make a lot of money. This time there's just a shortage, and we'll talk about that here in a few. And the great news for the Grand Strand is that people are moving here from all over the country, specifically the Northeast. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Really quick, one thing that's going to be interesting to watch is interest rates, right? We've heard a lot of news out of that. We talked about last few weeks' show, some words from the Fed, the Federal Reserve, talking about, how they're going to deal with mortgage-backed securities and tapering that off in terms of buying. So right now, 3.15% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, a 15-year fixed rate, 2.52%. A 30-year FHA loan right now is 2.75%, which is awesome. I mean, that's still pretty cool to be that low in that scenario. A jumbo loan, 3.12% for a 30-year jumbo loan. And then 5-year adjust rate mortgage right now is 2.75%. And so we're seeing rates slowly creep up. They're not quite up to 1-year highs yet, but they are creeping back up. And so if you look at just a few weeks ago, last week's show was 3.10. Week before that, 2.96. The week before that, 2.93. And so you can see the trend going up in terms of how high it's going. So just make sure if you're thinking about buying or selling, use this time very wisely to make a decision if you're moving laterally, moving up, moving down. It affects both buyers and sellers because if you're buying, you have less buying power because your debt to income ratio is going to depend on the payment, on the rate amount. And also if you're selling, it has to do with how many buyers can qualify for your home. As rates go up, less buyers can qualify for your home. And so I think that'll be something to watch as rates start to normalize. But if you want to know more about that, reach out, call me. The bottom line is if I'm thinking about selling in 2021 or even early 22, I want to take advantage of it now. Why? It's still hot, right? Sales are still technically up from where they have been. We have seen our first decline of 8% in terms of sales on this show in a very, 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 very long time. We know the next numbers that go down tend to be average sale price and median sale price. So don't wait too long. We'll take a quick break, come back, have a great conversation with Joe with some success stories. About 5 minutes.
When I'm moving on, won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big.
You want to do that? Next to you, that virus.
When it comes time to sell their home, if you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's
Dave, what we looking at?
I can tell you that
5 minutes?
Okay. Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD.
I'll let you do it.
Start packing.
All right. Well, now we have our hot buyer alert. These are hot. Now, Blake and our team have been working with a ridiculous amount of home buyers who are looking to buy homes here in Myrtle Beach, and they range from $150,000 to $3.5 million. If you're thinking of selling, please contact us immediately at 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Now, I've been looking at our current number of buyers that we have signed up and actively searching on our website. This morning, it was 63,961 active home buyers.
Yes, that's the crazy part. I always like to share that because that's what blows everyone's mind. Also, what happens when we look and sit down with someone and we say, look, I'm not just here to promise you stuff. I'm here to show you the facts. And here's how many buyers we have. Like right now on the site, I got Joseph Deaton from Randleman, North Carolina. I'm not sure where that is, but he's been on the site a lot looking at properties. He's looking at $353,000 average sale price. Alana from Conway. I got Whitney from Myrtle Beach. I got Carol from Orland Park, Illinois. Lawrence from Sacramento, California. Louise from Schenectady, New York. Durham, North Carolina. Allentown, PA. Endicott, New York. Sue's up there. And I got Norman from Charlotte. All just part of these people here. And so we have massive amounts of money coming from the out area. And this is something true that we run into all the time. We need inventory. This is not something we pitch on the show. Joe, you just had this too, where you were trying to set somebody up in Litchfield, right? And there was literally no active listings for them, right?
Yeah, no, zero active listings. I was just looking at the markets and stuff, looked at my own neighborhood that I live in, one home available out of hundreds of homes. So,
right.
We got to look around. Obviously, if you're looking down your street, you see no for sale signs in the hottest market Myrtle Beach has ever had, give us a call. Right now, you could be cashing out on tons of equity.
Yes. And so everybody asks, how do you have these buyers and why should I list with you versus anyone else? And so the reality is our business model we talked about is a team brokerage model, meaning that I do all the marketing, we have global reach, and our team focuses on being a specialist, not just a journalist. And so we have a team of specialists who do what they do. And our buyer team focuses on selling buyers, right? All day, every day, they're on the phones. And so we spend a lot of money to get those leads. We outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint, which is super important. So really quick, if you want to know more about that, reach out, call us. I want to get to a really cool success story. David Williams, who actually lives out of state in Georgia, had a property sale in the Carolina Forest area. Thankfully, he was referred to us by an amazing radio listener. Here's the craziest part. He thought his house was worth $25,000 less than we thought the current minimum of the market value actually was. Now, here's the thing. If you go to some investor, are they going to tell you it's worth $25,000 more? No, right? Most agents won't do that because we're here to make sure we get top dollar, super competitive. But also, here's the cool thing. We came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough, drove massive traffic, ended up creating a bidding war, going to multiple offers, and David ended up accepting an offer $15,000 above the list price, which is $40,000 above what David thought the house was initially worth. And so don't make the $40,000 mistake. Call Blake, right? That's something that's important to do in that scenario. I just made that one up. But here's a cool one. Crystal also recently inherited a condo in Myrtle Beach from her parents. She did not want to be a landlord from a long distance. She wanted to get the condo sold. And here's the thing. Unlike a lot of people who just inherit properties, they tend to dump it with some investor or sell it quick. Man, you can get a lot more money than you think you can a lot of times. She had talked to 3 other agents first, was not happy with them, found us online, Sloan Loza Group, saw almost 700 5-star reviews, and that was super cool. We came in, launched global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough, had massive traffic, had a Crystal almost full price offer on the property in a couple of days. So she's put maximum equity. So if you want to know more about that, be a success story, call us. It matters, right? Joe, what's your thoughts on that? What's some crazy stuff you see? We got 1 minute.
Yeah. One thing I was going to tell you earlier about was, I had a gentleman give me a call. He said that he had his property listed, got quite a few offers the first day. He made a common mistake where he just told his agent to pick the offer he should accept. Obviously, the offer fell through due to financing. I suspect, honestly, it's something that she picked that was probably one of her buyers. And this man is sleeping on the ground, no furniture or anything in there because he thought it was a done deal.
He moved out.
He moved out. Now he's sleeping on the floor.
When we looked the agent up, guess what? She only sold a couple houses. And so one more nuance that people don't realize when you're doing this. And so we had someone I know very, very, very well that was talking about, went listed with somebody that was their close friend, only sold 7 houses ever. The house still not sold. So just make sure you understand the difference. The agent you choose matters. If you want to know more about that, reach out, call us. Any friend, relative, aunt, uncle. If you like them, don't like them, have them call us. 843-808-SOLD. We'll be here at a brand new show next week as well.